Hello and welcome to episode 9. I am back at the bee farm for one simple reason, and that is it kind of breaks itself. Let me explain. When we built this farm, we discovered that dispensers are annoying and will pick back up a full honey bottle if it is not filled with glass bottles. And so we filled it with glass bottles. The problem is that dispensers are annoying. And sometimes they just decide to shoot the bottle out the back. So I am slowly but surely wasting glass bottles. Now don't get me wrong, you can see it's very efficient. I'm not sure why that's not going there. It's clearly producing honey. But I don't want to be wasting glass bottles. Now some of you may have already seen this coming from last time, and if you did, you know what? Pause the video, go tell me about it in the comments. But I'll know if you're lying, so don't skip ahead and go back. I'm watching you. Sometimes when the dispenser shoots the bottle does not go down into the hopper. For some reason, it shoots out the back of the honeycomb, or the beehive. And the only way to solve that is to block off this backside of the beehive. There is, fortunately, a simple solution to this problem. So here's what you do. You get rid of all these comparators. You get rid of all this redstone. You move this comparator back here. And then you fill this with solid blocks. We put a solid block here. Now that the comparator is farther back, we don't need quite so much dust. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So all of these bottles will now correctly shoot into the bottom. And we don't ever have to think about losing bottles again. While I gather some of my melons and pumpkins here to get some more emeralds, I'll talk about something I discovered recently. So, something that has been a bit frustrating for me on YouTube is that their automatically generated captions are pretty terrible. I know a lot of people use them. They don't bother creating their own captions. But accessibility is really important to me. I want to make sure that people who are hard of hearing or just generally like using captions are getting as close to the same experience as you would without the captions. I obviously, it's never going to be perfect. There are some things that just don't translate very well, but I wanted to do my best to make sure that people could get as close as possible. The problem is that if you just use the Google captions, they're bad. All sorts of things. There's like no punctuation. All sorts of things that shouldn't be capitalized are capitalized, and it takes me hours to edit them. So it's very frustrating. The last couple of videos, I tried to do sort of minimal edits so that I could save my sanity a little bit, but still have something out there. You are the wrong villager. Where's your friend? But those captions don't really quite convey the same experience in the way that I wanted them to. And so for that, I'm sorry. I know that not everybody uses them, and for some of you, you're probably thinking, why do I even care? But I do care. It's important to me. Now, however, I have discovered something new. I use DaVinci Resolve to edit videos. This is not a sponsorship or anything like that. I just want to say that their automatically generated captions are awesome. I don't have to do all that much work to edit them, and that means that hopefully moving forward, any of you who enjoy using the captions or need to use the captions will be having a better experience from now on out, because I can get better quality captions with less effort on my part, which is, excuse you, honeycomb, don't start with me on this side now. Hopefully you will now have a better experience with the captions, and I don't have to spend quite as much time making them, which makes me happier and may even be able to speed up the frequency with which I make videos. So that is just good news all around, I think. But enough about all that. What are we actually going to do in today's episode? Now that we have a honey farm going and honeycomb, I have better access to work with different weatherings of copper, which I am excited about. We can use the honey for redstone contraptions, and what I really wanted it for, which was to make Exuma's honey vader to put over at the skeleton farm so that it's easier to get up and down there. But on today's episode, I think it's time that we start working on this. I want to start putting some houses together for these villagers. And I'll probably start with these guys. They are my blacksmith types, and they are already kind of about where I think the blacksmith should be. Then this guy will go into a library. Maybe that goes here. I kind of think that maybe the library goes up on the hill here. That's what I think. So this guy is unfortunately going to have to move, which is... But let me get some designs together and see what we can come up with there. Should probably also make a house for myself, huh? And torch. And a door. Oh, I messed that up, huh? Perfect. A+ house. Okay, so it needs a little work. Eventually, we'll put the house up there. Somewhere up there. I'm thinking up near this cliff is where we're going to put the blacksmiths. That way other shops can be kind of in front. It can be contained back there. I don't know, maybe it vents its smoke into the mountain or something stupid. We'll figure that out. But I'm going to template something out here and see what we can make work in this space, just using some cobblestone. All right, so it's not much, but this is kind of the floor space that I'm thinking we'll use. It's a little square, it's a little longer, it's a little deeper, I guess, than it is wide. That way maybe they can hide the forges in the back. But I think it will be big enough to accommodate what we want. So now I need to figure out what material I want to use, because cobblestone is not it. So I did some research, and it seems that most blacksmiths had dirt or packed dirt sort of floors. And I think the one that makes the most sense for that look is packed mud. That means I need a lot of mud, which means I need a lot of dirt. That's one of those things that without the farm is just very annoying to make, because bottles are an incredibly irritating inventory management nightmare. So I'm gonna make a whole bunch of mud here, and we'll see how we get. Yep, gotta put one away, take one out. Put one away, take one out. Put one away, take one out. You get the picture here. Okay, so there's the basic outline for the floor, I think. The walls. Brick? I'm thinking brick. Wah, I turned too far. Brick. Bricks is gonna be what the walls are made out of, but unfortunately, bricks are an incredibly irritating and time-consuming thing to get. So, that was like a stack and some of clay, and I got 20 bricks out of it. So, I'm gonna go do some grinding. This area may look familiar to those of you that have been around since the early parts of the... Oops! This is out near our second base, I guess it was. I just happened to remember that it was there and that there's a lot of clay here. So I'm gonna gather some clay. Yes, I am. It turns out that I gathered way more than I need. I still have enough to make 4 more stacks. So this is the basic shape I'm thinking of for the smithy area. Maybe there will be an internal like low brick wall here or something to separate those out. And I kind of want to try and leave this an open front rather than having a door there. But somebody's are going to make that difficult. But the roof, it needs a roof before I get too far in. I was thinking about using bamboo because it kind of gives me like a thatch roof look. No. I think the time has come to move the villagers in there. So I've moved their workstations. I know they can't get out the front. Now all that's left is to hope for the best. I did figure out that sweet berries with carpet will do the trick, so I think we can leave this open. All right, dummies. Go to your workstations, please. Hey, that worked. I went over to our neighboring village over that way in the taiga and got some sweet berries. So now we can properly lock these guys in here. I'll just bone meal this to speed it up a little bit. I don't really care about the berries, just wanted to make sure. And now these guys cannot get out. They are trapped in here. I can walk in and out, no problem, which is great. But they can't go in, or they can't go out, and mobs won't go in. So that is, despite the lack of a door, it's mob-proofed. I did come up with the design for the roof. I did that in my creative world on stream, twitch.tv/nudos. So if you want to see a little bit more of my creative process, do make sure to tune in. Always love to get feedback from people. But the design that I have chosen involves more packed mud. We can start building the roof. This is an all slab design, essentially, that is made out of mud bricks, but we can accent it with some other things. I think that jungle wood goes okay with it. And like weathered cut copper, interestingly, kind of goes with it a little bit. We'll mess around with it and see. But for right now, I just need to get this built up. And hopefully I actually made enough of this, because boy, does it suck getting mud. I think a mud farm is probably on the agenda here soon. I like this brick, this texture, this block entirely too much. And I don't want to keep grinding like this. All right, the basic profile is done. Of course, it would start raining right as I start shooting this clip, but you can see this is the basic shape. I have a couple little accents that I want to put in here, but this is essentially the final form of the roof. I think what I need to do is this, and that. Same thing over here. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And then we'll use some of the blocks to fill here. And then the last thing that I need, if I have it over here, I need some jungle wood, which I think is in I don't have enough. Okay, well, I was gonna use jungle trapdoors in there. I'll use some other trapdoors for now just to give you the idea. My thought processes here is, it's like a vent, essentially, like your attic vent area. Honestly, it doesn't look that bad with oak. I think it just looks a little nicer with jungle. So that is basically the roof done. And then I think we can build some things in here. There's also a chimney that needs to go in this corner. Let me go get the materials for that. So as with the trapdoors there, these are meant to be jungle wood and not oak. But I think you get the idea here. We'll do that. And then I also want these here to give some light inside. This is, I'm thinking of this as sort of a, like back there is the workman area, up here is the customer front. So this wall is meant to divide that up. I just need to put in sort of the chimney area, our little lava, and then move these around so that they make a little bit more sense, and then the interior will basically be done. So for the chimney, I want to use stone bricks, at least for the time being. It's not necessarily the perfect block. I mean, most chimneys are actual brick. But I think it'll get the point across for now. We're gonna put lava there, and then these are just to kind of accent that. So you can see what's going on here. I just need to fix this hole I put in the roof. So that's the back corner. I'll flush that out in a minute. So there is the chimney. Originally I had this 3x3 design. The 3x3 design is nice because it allows me to put a campfire in there so smoke actually comes out. But I think it might be too chunky. I'm gonna have to think about that one. For now, however, I do want to put some windows in here so it's not a total cave anyway. We'll do that over there, and then this, I'm actually gonna move back a bit. And this is an axe thing. I'm gonna move over here for now. We have our chimney, we have some lights. I'll eventually bring this out, and then the only other thing is to just do a little bit of texturing. Granite works pretty well as sort of a worn brick vibe. So I'm gonna do some of this just to break it up a little bit. Just having the brick everywhere gets really boring. So we just put in a little bit of texture here and there. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just adding things to the walls. With the texturing now basically done, I mean, wow, that got a little accidentally repetitive there. I'll fix that in a minute. I also put some cobblestone up there on the chimney, and I finished putting in windows. I would like to put these barrels down. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do this, if I just want to put them like in the corners as backstock, if I want to line the back here with them. I don't really know. But the idea here is that I want all of my weapons and armor storage to be in the smithy. I think that makes sense to me. So for right now, at least, maybe we'll just do some kind of... Wow, that turned out not great. We'll just put them down a couple of places. Something like this. Oops. There we go. And now I can go grab all of the items from the chest and finally start doing some of this storage that I have woefully been in need of here. I was kind of thinking I might have 1 barrel per item type. That way it's not such a big deal. But maybe that's going a little too nuts. Maybe what we do is 1 like utility area. So this would be things like hose, axes, shovels, picks. I don't think I'm gonna really have that many of each, so they could all go in 1 barrel. Maybe this will be my bows, crossbows, arrows. Maybe not arrows. I don't know. We'll see. The Fletcher will probably deal with that. I don't think the Fletcher is gonna live in there. That might... I'm not sure that makes sense. I know it's a little weird from the outside not having a window on the back part, but it makes sense because of the chimney. It would be too cramped there. I tried that in creative and I don't think it looked right. So we'll just keep going with this. Helmets can go there for now, and that's basically this. We'll add some other odds and ends here and there as time goes on, and I will eventually get jungle wood for these and maybe some accents on the roof. But I think that's pretty good for now. So in this episode, I have spent quite a lot of time over here working on this, between getting mud and bricks and everything else that needed to go into that, and just having to convert things into mud, which so annoying. I think next episode, there's a couple things that I want to focus on. I think in between episodes, I will do some resource gathering so that the library can get started. I'm not sure, do I want that brick? Do I want that wood? Concrete? I'm trying to keep things largely like medieval or Victorian themed. I know those are 2 different time periods. Just bear with me. I'm a basic builder. So I need to get some resources because I am sorely lacking in a lot of them. And maybe build a mud farm finally, or a moss farm so I can start getting some mossy stuff going. But yeah, just now that I've been over there for so long, let's see just how long it really was. Yeah, so it may not have felt that long in the episode here, but I assure you, I spent a lot of time over there. It's over 2 stacks of bottles. I have been very busy over there. And I am missing 4 bottles? Well, I'll figure that out between episodes too, or at the very least, I will resupply that. But I think that is probably where I'm going to call it for this episode. This did take me quite a while to get done, so... yeah, I really need to get editing on this episode so that I can get it out in time. So if you did enjoy this episode, excuse you. If you did enjoy this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check me out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nudos. I stream Minecraft every Monday and sometimes other days. And I will see you next time for more farm building and house building and building. We're just gonna build all the things here soon. It's finally time. Bye.